I wanted to be able to move around with the crew, travel the world. But business denied me that. In business, you must watch everything and stay on top.
The key to being a healthy trader is having a clear trading system that's set in stone, keeping a trading journal, and sticking to everything I just mentioned.
So I decided to switch to intraday trading. I pick a few systems to trade, different markets, and a few different systems.
The trading system started showing positive results in 2025 to 2026, is that right?
Yeah, roughly. I collect statistics over a certain period of time, like say do 100 trades in 2 to 3 months, just as an example.
If you practice one strike for 10,000 hours, no one will be able to match you in a fight. And that's exactly how Krasky hones his skills on the charts. What does a systematic approach mean? 7% a month or 84% a year? Combined with training from Gerchik? And all of this is backed by experience trading on the US stock market and the Moscow exchange. And in the end, our young man ended up in crypto prop trading at Upscale, where you can get up to $400,000 in capital to realize your trading potential without risking your own money. As always, this is Igor Fox with you. You're watching the Upscale channel. All right, let's go. Who do I see among us? Ernest. Ernest, hello. Hello. How you doing?
Everything's good, thank you, Igor. Everything's fine, all good.
I know it's evening time now. So in theory, everyone should be relaxing. But we're here to talk about prop trading. And what do you think? Why were you invited to join us?
Apparently, because I work with you, with Upscale, with the company.
And what accounts do you trade on?
At the moment, I have two two-phase accounts with $200,000 each, and one funded account with $10,000. So I passed that one and took two $200,000 accounts.
As far as I know, you had 2 payouts this month for about $700, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Which comes out to 7% per month. Wow, that's impressive, really impressive. I always like that kind of thing.
Yeah, thank you. The main thing is to have stability.
And how do you see it yourself? For example, some traders, for example, think that with just one trade, they should make plus 300% on their deposit, then another 300%, and then go drive around in a Lamborghini. But your results are pretty conservative compared to those guys. Conservative results.
Yeah, I just don't like that kind of hype. Sure, you can make 300%, but you can just as easily lose it all right after.
For me,
systematic, steady work is much more suitable. For me, honestly, I'm totally fine with 7. 5 to 7% is absolutely fine.
Could you tell us a bit more about yourself? We already know your name. What do you do besides trading? And how did you get into trading in the first place?
Yeah, well, my name's Ernest. I'm 47 years old. I currently live in Moscow. I used to have my own business in Moscow. Then I sold it. So, I actually learned about trading while I still had my business. That was, around maybe in 2016, give or take. I wanted to be able to travel around the world or even move to a different country, but my business didn't allow for that because, as you probably know, with an offline business, you have to constantly keep an eye on everything and control it all yourself. I came across some guys I watched who were trading, doing trading, and making money. And that's when I started to look into it and really get into the topic. But I only took the training in 2020. Sometime around February or March, something like that.
So during COVID, right? That very lockdown.
Yeah. It was right during the lockdown. That's when I started trading. It all happened pretty much at the same time. So I finished the training, and then I started trading. I started trading on the American market. And then later I switched to the Russian market. So, I'll tell you more about that as we talk. When we get into it, I'll explain.
All right, no problem. So am I right in understanding that your offline business was also related to trading? Like, I don't know, reselling, stuff like that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Stores, reselling, all that.
Basically, we just switched from offline to online, but everything else stayed the same. Same thing, just from a different angle.
Well, yeah, something like that, more or less.
Great question. So it turns out that in 2016, I learned about trading. And in 2020, when most offline stores weren't really operating, I had some free time and decided to start teaching. I began trading in the US market. And what happened after that? What was going on that led you into crypto? In
Upscale. In
stocks and Forex, yeah, and overall, you ended up in Upscale.
honestly, I've tried everything. I really started studying trading seriously in the summer 2019. I started trading on a Forex demo account in 2024. And then the reason I say since 2020 is because that's when I started trading more consciously, after some training and with my own capital. I watched a lot of videos by Alexander Mikhailovich Gerchik. You probably know him too, right?
Of course, of course.
So, yeah, I started studying this trading system based on levels. And in 2020, I started trading midterm on the US stock market. I always wanted to learn how to trade intraday, day trading. For me, it's more like, midterm trades, there was a lot of uncertainty there. I needed something concrete so I could understand that every month I'd consistently make about 5 to 10%. I didn't see that with midterm trading. I just didn't get it. Now, I see that you can work that way with midterm trades too, but back then, no. At that point, I decided to switch to intraday trading. And I started trying it on my own. It just wasn't working out for me. And that went on for quite a while. I lost a lot of money there. That was when I was trading on interactive brokers. I actually took a course on intraday trading on the Moscow exchange. And then I started trading on the Moscow exchange. So basically, I took two courses. But both courses were based on the Gerchik system. I was taught, not exactly by mentors, but more like students. Let's say half mentors.
Successful graduates?
Yeah, but not really. If maybe you know Zabotkin, he was actually the first person I went to for training. And the second one was also a Gerchik student, a woman. She was also his mentor earlier, but then she left there, I think.
All right.
I started trading, yeah, intraday on the Moscow exchange, futures. But everything was kind of unclear. Like nothing was really working out. Something just wasn't clicking for me. It still wasn't working. And then I moved into crypto. So you see, I tried everything. Yeah,
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
yeah, I got into crypto. And then in crypto, I started trading with my own money. And then I found out about this company, Crypto Fund Trader, about about Vladislav, basically about all of that. And
So, what got you interested in prop trading, man? I mean, at first you were trading with your own money, and then suddenly CFT shows up, for example,
well,
at the very beginning. And then he says, "Here, take our money and trade." Well,
that's exactly what I liked about it. The fact that you can trade without using your own money, and plus they're pretty decent amounts of capital, actually. I mean, I didn't have that kind of money myself. Well, I saw some of the guys did. They were managing millions and more.
so here's the next question. So, with crypto prop trading a year ago, now it's 2026, what's happened over this past year? So, what did you try out? What did you like or not like? And why, in the end, are we signing up for Upscale?
Yeah, so look, Crypto Fund Trader. I still have it actually, and I trade it, a system called In Play. Right now, the market's kind of dead, let's say. It's more of a bear market. And there are very few coins that are really taken off. I mean, according to the In Play system. So I started looking for something new since I had some free time. And that's when I also chose your company, Upscale, to work with in parallel.
So, you were with Crypto Fund Trader. Then Upscale came along, or was there something else in between?
Yeah, there was something in between. So I was also with another one, Funded. Next, I was trading Forex. Trade the Pool, that's another company. They have American stocks. I traded with them too. And
What specifically attracts you to UP Upscale compared to other prop trading companies?
what really attracted me the most was the significantly lower commission rates, especially when you compare them to what is offered by Crypto Fund Trader.
On which markets specifically?
In comparison to EFT, as for crypto, yeah, for crypto, the commissions are lower. Well, the customer support's good. Well, now I'm basically with you guys. So right now, everything's fine, everything's good. I'm satisfied with everything.
Were there times when it was tough?
It was, more like unfamiliar actually. Not that it was hard. It was just unfamiliar, like with the chart, for example, after using Bybit. So I was mainly on Bybit. I got used to it there. But now it's fine. I've gotten used to your chart too. You guys are also adding features and making some updates, I see. That's good too.
Yeah, we're trying.
Yeah, now there are markers on trades. That's great.
So, low fees, updates to the trading terminal, listening to traders, and feedback from tech support.
Yeah, tech support in Russian. And honestly, it's really nice. The guys respond really quickly. They won't leave you alone until all your questions are answered.
Yeah, that's really true. And for those who want to join Upscale, first follow the link in the description, subscribe to our channel, like the video, and leave your comments. Maybe Ernest will stand out to you in terms of strategy or stories. Be sure to write to us, we always appreciate it. And besides that, I want to point out that yes, we really do have 24/7 technical support available in both Russian and English. So don't hesitate to reach out. We'll help you with anything and answer all your questions. Overall, I think we've gotten to know each other pretty well. I suggest we move on to discussing your trading strategy. So, what kind of crocodile have you developed after all those trainings? And we're going to find out all your little secrets. How would you describe your trading style? Because you said that at first you tried swing trading, then you wanted to switch to intraday. How'd that work out for you? What time frames do you trade on? Where do you start your analysis? Maybe you start, for example, from the daily chart, then go to the 1 hour or 30-minute chart. And in general, imagine you need to open trades or analyze the market, and in front of you is a completely blank space. So tell us, what would you do and what would you open?
I trade. I trade online. I make intraday trades, and my trades usually last, well, probably just a few minutes, maybe up to an hour. So I close them within the day. I don't make a lot of trades. I have a rule, 3 trades per day. For example, today I had, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4 trades. 4 trades across 3 accounts. That's it. Today I traded on each account. I have one account for trading Ethereum with its own strategy. 2 accounts are for trading at the intersection. There's a different strategy there. I trade with the American market only, meaning I don't trade before it opens. Only when the US market opens do I start looking for my entry points. Plus, when it's a holiday in the US, of course, I don't trade either. As we can see, Ethereum is currently moving within a certain range. The overall trend here is also bearish. Right now, I was specifically interested in closing out yesterday's candle. That was a signal for me that today, the instrument would make a sharp move. Downward. Today, I already looked at it on the 30-minute chart. On a more local time frame, I was watching its movement. A sharp move, only trading on that sharp move. When the US market opened, we had this candle, this exact 30-minute one. Let me switch to the 1-minute chart. That's my working time frame, the one I use for all my trades. And now let me show you from here. Here, I was already trading right from this level just now. I'll place you here. It was from this level that I traded the short position, right at the US market open. The only thing is, of course, I exited early. My target was set at 41, but today I exited at 31. I entered on the breakout right at this candle. So I got in after this spike, and by this candle, I was already in the position. Already on this candle here. I exited at 3 to 1. My take profit was triggered somewhere around here. That's pretty much how the trade turned out today.
Okay, and what was the basis for opening it? So I heard you, and yes, it really was the candle that was expected, the one that would determine the decision for the next trade. But I'm more than sure that it's not just one candle that sets the mood for opening a trade. There are other setups too, right? I mean, maybe. Yeah, some indicators.
Indicators, yeah. Basically, when it comes to indicators, I mostly use just one indicator, and that's ATR. I need ATR for the stop size to determine the size of the stop loss. As for volumes, I don't really look at them here anymore because I have a different strategy, a different system now. I mostly use volume indicators in Crypto Fund Trader, and that's it. I don't use any other indicators.
I only trade during the American session. What about the Forex market? Like different indices and currency pairs? If I remember right, you said it's something different there.
NASDAQ, yeah. I also trade NASDAQ, and I'm starting to look at the S&P 500, but basically, trading NASDAQ and S&P 500 is pretty much the same thing. I don't trade Forex. I used to trade NASDAQ right from the open too, of course, from the start of the US session, also using the local time frame. Here's the US market open, right here, with this green candle. And here I set 2 levels, as you can see. Here too, right from the US Open, you can see accumulation happening. There it is. We break through here, but I didn't enter at this level, because for me it was a bit too early, just a little too soon. But overall, you could have entered from here too. I was already considering a short from this level. These are all local levels. They don't really exist on higher time frames. Here there was an LP, a pullback, not a big one, and then another move down. Here I entered on the breakout. On my first account, well, I trade on 2 accounts. On the first account, my stop was triggered right here. I entered here on one account, my stop was triggered. And on the second account, and actually on the first account too, I went short here today.
So now we've specifically broken down the opening of the American session. As I understand it, most of the trading happens during the most volatile period. So basically, when the market is really active and the rest of the time there's no trading going on.
No, why? You see, look, with NASDAQ, I don't rush things. I wait for the US market to open. With Ethereum, yeah, I can jump in right at the open, like a minute or two after, basically right away. But with NASDAQ, I wait 15 to 30 minutes. But a breakout, so you get it, there could have been these levels here, right? Like, for example, this lower one. And let's say, for example, we set it up like this, roughly speaking, and here's the upper one. And NASDAQ could just stay in this range like this, moving back and forth for an hour, 2 hours. Well, I would wait for it to break out of this range, out of this channel, either up or down.
Then, overall, I think it's more than clear. For those who want to know more about where Ernest studied, it was mentioned. As I understand it, this is exactly what you learned, pretty much unchanged, without much modification.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Well, basically, trading is done from levels, from daily candles, but I trade from local ones. Also, there are different strategies, different systems. So I just showed you 2 of my strategies that I use specifically here for Ethereum and for NASDAQ. But for example, when it comes to stock strategies, I could also use and consider daily levels there.
We can switch over to the Upscale interface. I'll ask you some questions there. So what interesting things do you want to show us here?
So on February 4th, I already bought myself a small account for 10,000. I passed the first phase with this 10,000 account, and I also passed the first phase with the demo account. I kept trading on the demo account too. I passed the first phase. So I bought it on the 4th, and by the 10th, I had already passed it. That's in just 6 days.
Pretty quick.
Yeah, the demo took longer. On the demo, it took me a little over a month to pass the first phase. I started on January 4th and finished on February 11th. But honestly, I didn't start trading this system right away from January 4th. I don't remember exactly, but for about a month or so, I was just tracking it, maybe a bit less. So I passed the second phase on February 26th. This was the $10,000 account. I bought it on the 4th, and by the 26th, I had already completed everything. That's 22 days. After that, I started withdrawing from this $10,000 account. I had 2 payouts in March totaling $700, just like you said, and I also passed the demo account on March 30th, which started, when was it, January 4th? Well, not the 4th, it was a bit later, I think. So it took me about 2.5 months to complete it.
And that became the signal for you to go for the $200,000 account.
2 $200,000 accounts. Yeah, well, what else? What else can you do? You have to try, because what's the point of just sitting there trading on that account, or taking 50 or 100,000? Well, I could have taken two $100,000 accounts, for example. That's also an option. But then again, how? It really depends on what's convenient for each person, whatever fits their system. Honestly, I realize that for some traders, it's tough to hold on to trades or sit through them when there are big numbers on the screen, huge ones. But I try to focus on the risk. I define everything by risk, not money, but specifically risk.
Risk, percentage of the deposit. Whether it's 1,000 or 100,000, the risk is the same.
That's right. 280 and 320. Yeah, 700, that's right.
All right, let's open them up and take a look at this beauty.
Yeah,
Okay, the first certificate. All right. Now,
this is probably the second one. Hold on just a second. The first one was probably this one. Yeah, March 13th. Yeah, this one.
during the challenge, so first of all, you passed it on your first try, as I can see, which is an amazing result because unfortunately, most traders can't say the same. And I'm more than sure that this is connected to a set of rules you followed during the challenge. So, what were those rules that helped you stay afloat?
Listen, it's actually like a whole system, a written out algorithm that basically covers everything, includes everything. You just follow it, right? There are daily risks, weekly risks, man, you have to stick to them. It's also really important for the market itself to adjust to all of this because the market can be different too. You get that yourself, I think. That's why I choose to trade with several systems, different markets, and several systems. So, like one market is, say, crypto. I'm trading Ethereum. Another is NASDAQ. And then I have a third one, Plus Play. Maybe I'll add something else too. And when you trade different systems and different markets, even if one of your systems is in a drawdown or the market doesn't fit your trading system, you still have a second, third, or even fourth option. No matter what, you'll be making money somewhere and withdrawing funds.
Have you ever kept, or do you keep, a trading journal or diary? And what's your maximum risk percentage per trade?
Yeah, I still definitely keep my journal. I've gotten used to it. I've been doing it almost since I first started trading. Now I keep it in my own Excel file. I set it up myself just the way I like it. Everything is fully detailed in there. It includes the trading date, trading time, entry time, exit time, which ticker, what the stop loss was, the size of the stop, and what the take profit was. Basically, everything is there, just like a system would require. So, for example, what the system is supposed to do and what I actually did. If there's any difference, why that difference happened, and any comments about it. So I enter absolutely all the information there as thoroughly as possible, and I do it all by hand.
You mentioned that for you, trading often takes less time than keeping your trading journal. I'm curious, exactly, from your perspective, why do you put so much emphasis on this? Why is this important specifically in your trading? And maybe even for the traders who are watching us right now?
First of all, you can see how you might tweak your system. Because, for example, when I enter all the data there, I also record how far the instrument moved after I exited the position, and I collect statistics over a certain period of time. Let's say, for example, over 2 or 3 months, about 100 trades, roughly speaking. And out of those 100 trades, I look at, for example, if I was exiting at 2 to 1 or 3 to 1, but the instrument shows me that in 90% of cases it moves further, like 4 to 1 or 5 to 1. So I can already change the system. I might adjust it. In other words, I start paying attention to that, keeping an eye on it.
But look, during this whole interview, I haven't heard you mention anything about trading during news events, or even not necessarily during news, but when something comes out. Do you filter for that in any way, or do you completely ignore it? Does it not affect you at all?
Listen, I'll be honest with you. Right now, with the systems I just showed you, I completely ignore the news because the trades are very fast and very short term. Even sometimes, maybe, I rarely actually get caught by the news during that exact period. But even if I do, well, I have take profits and stop losses in place. So honestly, I just don't pay attention to it.
You've got a pretty high level of resilience, I'd say. So, over 6 years or more, I've gone through various trainings, experienced different markets. Some of them I'm still involved in. Before that, I had experience in business, and business is a pretty stressful environment when everyone wants something from you and you have no idea what to do at that moment. Yeah, it's pretty much the same in the market overall. And pretty often, as you mentioned, for about 5 years, if I understand correctly, there were almost no results. So the trading system only started showing positive dynamics around 2025 or 2026. Is that right?
Yeah, that's about right.
So, how did you keep going for 5 years? I'm more than sure that when you hit a losing streak, a real string of losses, you just want to tear everything apart, smash the walls, go into revenge trading, that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, look, first of all, I do have money, an income that I live on. So, trading for me, when I got into it, I understood that first of all, it's a question of whether it will work out and how quickly it will work out. Earning money consistently and steadily. So, I have an income that I live on. I can't really say I've ever had situations where I just wanted to drop everything and walk away. First of all, you have to actually love trading. That's number one. Yeah. And second, it's discipline. That's what saves you. Like we were just talking about the trading journal. By the way, it really helps. The journal helps with discipline. It actually brings out that discipline too.
Basically, the key to being a healthy trader is having a clear trading system that's documented, keeping a trading journal, and sticking to all of that.
Yeah, a trading system is important, but having a mentor is definitely recommended, especially at the beginning. So learning and having a mentor is really desirable. Yeah, I didn't have a mentor myself. No one really held my hand through the whole process. Yeah, I went through 2 or 3 months of training. After that, I was on my own. When you have a mentor or at least some kind of ongoing connection for a year or two, that's just awesome.
Let's say there are people watching us right now who are thinking, maybe I should get myself a prop trading account, but I still don't really know what to do. I'm unsure, or something like that. So, what are the main pieces of advice you could give them?
Well, first of all, you have a demo account, which is actually how I started too. Here's what I would do. I would start with a demo account. Of course, if I'm already a trader and I know what I need to do, that's a different story. I would take my system and first test it on historical data using some terminal, like TradingView, for example. Then I would try trading it on your platform. If I decided to come to you and trade on your demo account, I'd just spend the first month or 2 weeks testing it out on the charts. That is, see how everything works on your platform. And once you understand that everything is fine, you're handling it, and you're satisfied with everything, you can buy a small account, which is what I did too. That doesn't matter. You can buy one for 5,000 and then start growing from that account. Well, in my case, I withdrew 700 and bought myself two for 200 each. That's more expensive. But I also withdraw money from another prop firm, from Crypto Fund Trade. I have an account there too, so it's all good. So I keep track of all this, balancing things out until I can get a big account. And you don't have to buy one for 200. You can get something for 50 or 100. And that's how you gradually grow.
Basically, with the payout you received, right?
With the payout you received, yeah, the worst thing you can lose is time, not money, just time. If suddenly,
But you'll still gain experience. So basically, you're trading time for experience.
yeah, of course, of course. That's absolutely right.
All right. Just a heads up, if anyone I've interviewed is watching this, please don't take offense. Usually, when I ask this kind of question, people say, always set stop losses, always set take profits. But you and I discussed earlier,
Goes without saying.
why does it go without saying? Because earlier we talked about the fact that you need to have a trading system. And in any, literally any trading system, that's written in. It's like it's carved in stone. You could get it tattooed, like set your take profit, set your stop loss. That's it.
Yeah, of course.
What drove you? You struggled for a really long time.
Yep.
I'm more than sure there are a lot of people watching us right now. They're struggling too. So, what could you say to them from your own experience? What motivated you and what might motivate them to keep going?
If you've set a goal, you need to go for it. You need to draw conclusions and learn from your mistakes. The most important thing is not to start with a big deposit, especially not to blow it all right away. That's just terrible. So if you're going to start working with your deposit, only start with a small one. And honestly, it's best to do it with a group. It's great. And move forward gradually. So study, really get into it. It's a whole system where what really matters isn't so much the trading itself, but the analysis, learning everything, and understanding it all. But before, I remember I just wanted to trade more. It was all about the trading itself. Now it all kind of happens on autopilot. Sometimes it even gets a little boring, honestly. But the learning and everything else, right?
There's that saying, if you practice one punch for 10,000 hours, no one will be able to match you in a fight. And that's exactly how you hone your skills on the charts. You spend hours at the charts, analyzing, looking at your trading journal, and eventually you just build up experience.
Yeah, exactly. What I mean is, you have several systems. If one of them happens to hit a losing streak for a while, that's normal, it happens. But there's always a chance that with the second or third system, you'll be making money.
At this point, I suggest we wrap up the interview and thank you for sharing your experience. I also want to thank all the viewers who watched us. Leave your comments, hit like, subscribe to the channel, click the bell, and turn on all notifications. And of course, I'll see you all at the top. Final words.
Yeah, that's it. I also wish everyone lots of profit, steady and consistent. And your own trading system, the one that works for you, that you'll use to make your money, that's the most important thing.
We finished our money talk. Perfect. See you next time. Goodbye.